is day 17. Though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor, that you might become rich. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 9. Forever Joyful, written by Vernon Grounds. Wall Street Journal columnist Jonathan Clements offered his readers 9 tips for investing in happiness. Interestingly, one of his suggestions was precisely the same as that given in the favorite old hymn by Johnson C. Oatman, Count Your Many Blessings. Clemens urges us not to brood over the riches of our neighbors, but to focus on the many blessings we actually do possess. That's wise counsel, provided that we realize our spiritual wealth in Jesus is immeasurably more valuable than any material possessions. God didn't give us the Bible as a guidebook for happiness, yet it tells us how we can be eternally joyful and how we can experience joy on our way to the eternal happiness. So, it's enlightening to compare biblical truth with common sense advice. Godliness with contentment is great gain, Paul wrote to Timothy. The apostle wanted his protege to understand that being grateful for the basics of life would help keep him from the trap of covetousness. So let's focus on the wonders of God's grace, training ourselves to make a spirit of gratitude pervade our lives. That's the way to experience joy today and to forever be joyful. When you look at others with their lands and gold, think that Christ has promised you his wealth untold. Count your many blessings. Money cannot buy your reward in heaven, nor your home on high. Our quote this morning reads, Count your many blessings, and you'll find that you will soon lose count. End quote.
Rephrase, but ask it again. Do you believe the same things that you believe when now as when you were actually growing up many years ago?
I think we change our perspective as we get other experiences in life, Mikey G. Um, Life is dynamic, as you mentioned, and so therefore, um, what you were when you were a teenager is certainly not what you are when you become an adult and you have your own experiences.
Well, here is something I want to say that then it would be right then to say that if we are the experiences that we have are constantly changing,
Yes.
then it would be okay for the actual institution that calls itself God's church to change as well with time.
Yes.
Because you have been, I mean, if you were just starting something early, you wouldn't probably know all the things you're supposed to know. And so you must be able to change over time because things has changed.
Yes. Yes. I agree. Things
So,
change. People change.
right. So men can be women and women can be
No,
men now.
no, no, no. Why did you have to go there? So
but no,
early in
I'm
the
saying,
morning.
but no, but you cannot stop. No, if change isn't occurring, and we are in an evolving world, then we must accept the fact that when things get more modern, look at all the modern families that we have now.
You need to change, Mikey G.
I need to change.
Yes.
Well, all right, here I am. I have changed from saying that I'm going to be constantly moving everything around to staying with what the Bible's principles say, and if that's what it says, I'm going to do that. I've changed from doing all of that before.
Hmm.
I used to just like to move things around,
But you have
but then
changed.
I've changed from moving things around and wanting it now to go along the line of how the Bible says it should go.
Yes.
But in the Bible, and so if I'm saying that we are changing and we are evolving, then we can have women become men, and we can have men become women.
Yes.
The Sabbath can be Sunday,
Uh huh.
and so on, and so on. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
You take
Thursday,
the
Friday.
you take the change to an extreme.
No, but you can't stop there.
Who says you can't stop there?
How do you understand? How do you understand the evolutionary theory of change? You have to be a monkey, well, amoeba or something that went into being a monkey,
Yes.
then a donkey. Sorry, not a donkey, but you understand what I'm saying. The change don't just stop there. You understand? It just don't stop. It never stops. It can't stop because if you are evolving and changing, then you must understand that it's a constant movement.
Yes.
And you can't settle at just men being women. You can expect a donkey to be a woman as well, or a man. You can't stop there. You can't just say that we have to be baptized to be a Christian. You could just drink a glass of rum and that would work. In fact, you know what I like? You could just pour, some guys just like a big bottle of liquor over your head and that's baptism. How about that? Why stop at just marrying one wife? Let's keep going. You know? Why not? We are evolving, man. We are changing. And I like, let's change. Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Because it can't just fit in the narrative that we want it to fit in and it stamps,
Uh
You have
huh.
to accept all the other things that comes with the change. Change is just, it's going. It just keep going. It is.
Well,
Just stop. Just stop. How many men would want multiple wives, guys? Hold up your hands. Lots of wives, huh? Yeah.
no, 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 no. That has changed.
Question.
That has changed,
Let's
Mikey
ask the
G.
question. Let's ask the question. How many women would want multiple husbands? Put up your hands. Multiple husbands, right? No, sorry. How many women would like to marry a female instead of a man? How many men would rather marry a man instead of a woman? Come on, let's keep going, Keep moving forward because guess what? As time changes, things have changed. We become more modern, and more modern things are here. And so we must understand that if we are principled people and Christians, we have to change with the time. If you're stuck in your old ways of marrying just one woman, or marrying a woman for argument's sake, you might want to engage in trying to figure out how a man feels, you know what I mean? You just can't stop yourself, You just have to keep going. I'm just thinking, if we're gonna change, at least just go straight ahead. Don't stop at some little bureaucracy that may prevent you from just having a full gamut of your best experience that you could ever possibly have in Salem. Don't stop.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Don't stop
Don't
yourself.
stop. Don't stop.
But
Oh,
if
oh, you
you
do
are
it.
thinking like me, that after looking at what Saddam is selling, I should not watch that and try to say that I am not changing, and the only evolve I'm going to be evolving is looking at God's word and say this is how it must be, and we're trying. We have always pride ourselves to say that we are using God's word as a template to go to the Garden of Eden. When last have you heard that statement? You know what? We go to the Garden of Eden as it suits us. Let's go pick one of those fruits from the tree right up where the serpent is. Oh, serpent, you know what? I want to be like God. Yeah. Every now and then we go to the tree with the serpent talking to him.
I want to say a special good morning to those who are joining us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and of course those who have been locked in. We started this morning at 6:30 a.m. sharp. And of course, we have been having a very interesting discussion about change and how life is dynamic. I did enjoy the devotional, though, Mikey G,
Yeah, it was a
about
potent devotional. I
ab-
really did enjoy
about
it.
joy, being joyful, you
Yes.
know. How can you find joy with so many things happening? I don't know. Uh,
Well, ladies, it is one thing to be sure of that, when you think of happiness, and I,
yes,
I had this conversation on the weekend. I was hosting a program, a Christmas program on the weekend, and while I was doing that, I said, to the audience, happiness is not an external experience.
right.
Happiness is actually an internal experience.
Mm,
If I feel happiness, I always feel it inside here. We talk about the temple of God,
yeah.
and it's the temple that we. But here's where I live. Mikey G lives here. Now, how do I treat here where I live? Do I just throw all this kind of garbage there and make it be as toxic as it can possibly be?
We try not to. As much as we can, we try not to.
So if I'm going to be experiencing hurt or pain or anything, it's
Yes,
going to be within here. It's not. It's never external. It's never outside of me. It's always right inside here. So if you're not happy, maybe you should check out what's in that box of happiness inside.
that's a question worth asking, Mikey G. A question worth asking.
He did not make me happy. She did not make me happy.
Listen, you have to be happy for yourself. You can't rely on somebody else to make you happy. You have to find that own, and sometimes it takes a while. We have to go through our own set of experiences for us to recognize it. I want to say a special good morning to the Ebenezer family. Of course, still on their fundraising mission. Special good morning to Sister Judith McFarlane, such a woman of strength and prayer and power. Special good morning to you this morning from the Flashpoint team. We are having so much fun here, Mikey G. My sister baked me a nice cake,
Yes. Well,
and she sent it all the way to the Cayman Islands. Um, it's a fruit cake,
I want to say
and
on behalf of Flashpoint, Team Flashpoint here, Team Flashpoint, myself, Mike G, Lady Elise, well, breakfast our team, not the entire team. Coralie Karen, who is now still trying to figure out how to start, not eat my cake. Yes,
I think you're traumatized by that. I don't know why Coralie ever told you that she got cake for you. But
yeah, well,
anyway,
here's what I want to say, Lady Elise, on that topic. That here is the principal rule of
yes,
happiness. You come to the worship center, God's temple, God's temple, to then ask the question,
yes,
why the preacher so boring? I don't get any blessing. I don't get any joy when I come here. I don't feel spiritually filled when I come here.
yes.
You should have come full.
Should have come full, right?
Come on, the whole week you had a chance to fully fill yourself up.
Yeah,
Come with some experience that you can share with others. Don't
yes,
come to suck everybody dry.
yeah,
I know there are times when you don't, battered and torn by the, the, the life's experience all week and, as it continues. But as Christian believers, you can understand somebody who's not a who's a who's just coming into the fold and realizing that this is a place that you can re-energize yourself and change.
Yes.
But when you are in there for a while, you must come with your own joy and your own spiritual experience.
You can't always rely on someone
You
else to
can't
give you
come
that.
to suck everybody dry from theirs.
I wouldn't want to use the word suck everybody dry.
If they're not doing well, if they look, I don't, I'm gonna leave because I don't. You didn't come to, but if you didn't come for that. But if you went to a pub, or one of those little places, you first went to the bar, you got your liquor, and you start to drink. You start to make yourself happy.
Yes.
Get some of the liquor at the church, man. Get some of the spiritual liquor and drink that. Ready
Yeah.
yourself up.
Do you
Because you now
remember?
change. You
Do you
claim you change. So come and get and bring.
do you remember when we mentioned bartender day,
Yeah,
and we discovered that so many persons, not so many persons, but in that article that we read, we discovered that persons, they view bartenders as almost counselors. So they go and they unwind and they can get some.
they wrote it. They wrote the article to somewhat diminish the bartender's counseling skills because probably they didn't get a degree from the counseling seminary or college or university, wherever it's supposed to be issued, right? And so he didn't get it from them. But there is also what you call education is like this, and I learned this a long time ago. And many persons who understand education will know this. It's
Yes.
common knowledge. If it's not common knowledge, and you probably didn't pick this up, but this is fine. There's
Yes.
two methods for understanding how to learn. It's called formal education and informal education. Two methods.
Right.
The formal education, you go to school, you regurgitate what somebody write down, and you listen to that.
Yes.
And well, let me explain regurgitate. Somebody lives an entire life experience
Uh-huh.
and wrote down his experience of what he knows in a book. And
Right.
somebody take 30 minutes and read the book. Now have the man life experience from he was born and die at 70.
Mm.
That's what regurgitation is. Basically just reading somebody's life experience in 30 minutes
Right.
and thinking you understand the life experience.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant person. Here's another method. A pickup method, which is called informal method of education, that the person will watch somebody perform a task and then seek to copy and perform the same task with precise and exact precision. And that task is not necessarily stopping at carpenters and masons as people normally, every time I listen to people talk, they always put the persons who do plumbing, carpentry, masonry, and these things as a lower form of life. Here is where doctors started their profession. One man went to the university, he did the formal education, and the other person who learned it had to do the same thing, the informal way. Watch him perform the duties or the task, then pick up the method and then continue the process.
Yes.
This method is still used even in 2024,
Uh-huh.
despite what people might think. How do you think so many persons learn first aid? Not formally, they watched it somewhere and then performed it themselves,
Yes.
picking up things. And human beings are designed or created or constructed to be able to do these simple things that we want to make so complex.
Right.
I understand the course of study for art surgery. Yeah, I get it. I get it. And you'd have somebody who created an airplane who went to aerodynamic school.
Right.
The Bell brothers who didn't go to the aerodynamic school. He didn't go.
Right.
He didn't go to the school. Well, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct Mikey G this morning. He didn't go to the aerodynamic school to figure out how to make aeroplanes. Because there was nobody to teach it.
Well, I'm glad you on that note. I'm glad you mentioned that because today is actually Right Brother Right Brother Day, the 17th of December. And I don't know if you remember about the Wright brothers, two aviation pioneers who defied gravity, unlocked human potential, and inspired generations to reach for the skies and beyond. For some years, I've been thinking about I have been afflicted with the belief that flight is possible to man. My disease has increased in severity, and I feel that it will soon cost me an increased amount of money, if not my life. And that quote is from Wilbur Wright. One important day that changed the world was the day when a man was able to fly through the air in the style of a bird. Not only was this unprecedented, but it set the stage for a whole host of other ideas and inventions that have contributed to the advancement of technology as well as the adventure into space. So the airplane has certainly made the globe a much smaller, more accessible place for humans. And
Great.
right at the beginning of it all are two brothers from the US state of Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. So
Can I ask?
today, yes,
Can I ask a question?
ask man, ask.
Did it put where which one of the aviation school they went to learn?
No, it speaks about a passion that he said if he did not fulfill, it probably would take his life. These things that's just messing with his mind, and oh man,
You understand? You understand what I just said earlier?
yes,
There was no school to teach them aviation.
yeah,
But what they did was they learned a few things that would allow them
mm-hmm,
to figure this thing out.
yeah. So today's
We
Right
want,
Brothers Day,
we
Right
want, we
Brothers.
want to create the idea that we have to be going to somewhere to learn the information that we have.
What would the world be like though if we never had that? I mean, if they didn't discover it, I'm sure somebody would have been, pioneering flight. But it's such a busy industry. Persons are the world is just at your fingertips. I would say you can go here, there, almost anywhere.
What I'm
Consider,
saying is this,
yes,
I'm not minimizing education because I can't.
yes,
What I want to let people stop doing is stop saying that persons cannot learn things outside of the classroom. And because the person didn't go to this university, the person is not educated.
yes.
We assign education to someone going to a local, and if they didn't go there, then your education is no good.
Yeah.
The Wright brothers' education could be no good right now,
Ah, yes.
and they would be the first one to look at them. You
Yes.
know, everybody now owns a telephone somewhere.
That's true. Look at
You know, but
flashpoints, Mikey G. Look, keep it up. Look at flashpoints.
there it is.
Look,
There it is.
oops, there it is.
Yes.
Well, but of course, our financial advisor is joining us this morning. I'm not sure what information, and of course, our financial advisor. This segment of the program is brought to us by M&M Construction Limited. Let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Build your dream home or renovate your space, M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345 927 7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345 927 7509.
Of course, our financial advisor will be joining us, Mikey G. I know you're planning to spend out all of your money this Christmas.
Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. Christmas is a time when most persons do gift giving. If you never got a gift before, I'm expecting one at Christmas. And of course, if you don't have any money, yeah, you have to get some to give some gifts to somebody because nobody wants an empty-handed Santa Claus.
I don't know. I don't know if one morning we can actually play that song, Santa Claus, do you ever come to the ghetto? You know, that's a question that I have been asked or I have been hearing being sung. And of course, our financial advisor, I'm not sure what he'll be sharing with us this morning. Uh, Good morning, Richard.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can definitely hear you. A pleasant good morning to you this morning, and of course, welcome again to another financial advice day. This morning, I want to say to our listeners, also welcome to the breakfast hour, and of course, to experience another financial experience with us right here on Flashpoint. So, what do you have for us today?
All right. Thank you for having me again. So this morning, my eyes are a little blurry. Up since whatever o'clock a morning. This morning, trying to put things together. This morning I'm be talking about funds and
Yes.
the different type of funds that we have. Right now, from an investor's point of view, you want to put on monies that bring some returns. Or what we're calling some names today that, though we have been saying it over time, we're going to add a little more flavor to it and add some specifics to it this morning. So we're going to explore a few types of funds that are available. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, and I will always tell you there are more in place that you can go and look for additional information. And of course, at the end of the day, remember to invest wisely, you need to talk to your personal financial planner. Okay? So these are just ideas, and we're going to go forward with them now. So, first up, what is an investment fund? Simply put, an investment fund is a pool of money that's collected from many investors to invest into what we call securities. And a security is something like a stock, bond, or other assets. The goal, of course, is to generate returns to the investor, and meaning that you're going to want to get more cash on the cash that you have put in. There are different types of funds, with each fund having its own characteristic. So let me just get into the main one that everybody hear about: mutual funds. A mutual fund is an investment vehicle that pools money from investors to purchase a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, other securities. And these other securities could be paper assets, or it could also be real estate. The fund is managed by professional portfolio managers who make their investment decisions on behalf of the investor. So let us say you go into a mutual fund that you tell that says that we're going to invest in stocks and bonds and we expect a yield or a return of 7%. This is what we are doing with our that we work. Then, because of your own personal risk tolerance, you will say, yes, this fund works for me, and I'm a return for the risk that I'm willing to take.
Right.
So most funds are actively managed, but there are some that we call passive management. An active management fund is one where the stocks or bonds are traded on a more regular basis. With a passive fund, what you find is that you invest in a particular security, and let's say, for example, Amazon. You may
Yes.
say, I only want to invest in Amazon and some other tech firms, and that's it. They don't touch it, they don't move it, they don't sell it. They just, as you more money comes in, they just buy more of those type of stocks, right? The second type of fund is called an exchange traded fund, and that is an ETF. They are very similar to mutual funds in that they are diversified in their portfolio of assets. However, the difference being is that that fund is actually traded on the stock exchange. Find is that it moves up and down with the stock market just and along with its underlying assets. A good example again, you may end up saying, I want a fund or I'm going to buy into a fund. This is very locked in. And let's say it's a million US dollars. So once they get their million US dollars, 1 million shares at $1 each, what you find happening is that that fund is now traded, that is locked in with, say, we have a million, so 10 stocks at $1,000 each or 1,000 units each. And that's it, right? 10,000, 1,000 times a 1,000, a million. So 1,000 units, let's probably put that good bigger, 10,000 units of 100 each. And that's it. So the value goes up, but the volume of the stock internally does not move. Okay? Let's try that. You have 100 shares of Amazon. The volume of Amazon shares, number of Amazon shares do not move. What moves is the value of those shares, and that's what carries the price of the stock up or down. The next type of fund is that we call the private equity fund. These funds invest directly in private companies. So whereas the first two, mutual funds and exchange traded funds, would have been traded on the stock market, a private equity fund only invests in private companies, right? And so similar to your company that is here, Flashpoint Media, you may have somebody come in and purchase a portion of your company, 20%, 30% of company. And he may be going out and doing that with several media companies. That is a private equity fund. They usually focus on long-term investments, aiming to improve the companies that they invest in, with the option, of course, to sell it at a profit. Or sometimes they may want to take it to the stock market. It's a little bit higher because the risk, because you do not know the underlying companies behind them, and you have to depend on the financials that they have produced. However, for the most part, these are reasonably large companies, and they usually have audited financials from the big four, right? So the bigger the private equity fund, usually they can get those type of companies. And two more to go. We have the real estate investment trust. You'd have heard of REITs. These are companies or funds that buy large scale income producing real estate. Now, you invest in it, you do not actually buy the real estate, you buy the piece of paper. So you can trade the REIT as much as you want. So let us say I bought it for $1, it goes up to $10. I then can cash in, I get my 10-cent profit, I move on. The underlying real estate, however, is still owned by the trust. And so you find that it allows the REIT to continue growing. Now, there are two good things about a REIT. One, the rental income, which is more, not all the while, but sometimes passed on to the investor as either quarterly or monthly income, or sometimes annual income. But two, you have the value of the real estate also going up through appreciation. And so you end up with two, your monies will grow by both ways. So it produces an income, and if you don't take the income, that income is then locked in and grows with the company and with the real estate itself. What I do like about REITs is that most mutual funds do not have a heavy volume of real estate in it. And so in your own way, you can diversify your portfolio by doing a mutual fund as well as a REIT. And then finally, we look at a hedge fund. The idea behind the hedge fund is that you're going to go with a fund manager. Of course, that fund manager has to be trained in hedge funds. They look at derivatives, they look at short selling, and the idea is to generate very high return. However, as you have heard, with high return comes higher risk. They tend to be less regulated than the other types of funds. It allows them to be more flexible in their investment strategies. And what you do find too is that hedge funds tend to be open to accredited investors due to its complexity and the higher risk profile. So one of these days we'll talk about accredited investors. But for the time being, hedge funds are an option that is available. Now, how do all these integrate in your financial plan? We have covered several types of funds. So let's see how they can fit into your financial plan. As usual, I always suggest that you diversify your portfolio about over a few asset classes so that you can spread your risk. There's one thing that I learned, however, from Warren Buffett, and he said that what you need to do is to, when you have small amount of monies, is to invest, learn a lot about that investment that you're putting your money in, invest everything in it. But when you have grown it to a particular level, then you can start diversifying your portfolio. So I'm going to use by the same suggestion. Understand one asset class first, invest in it, grow it, and then when you're through growing it and you understand it and you're now able to split that money, then you start looking at a second asset class. I suggest, however, that you split them among the three uh, or four funds that I mentioned. One, you must have real estate in your portfolio. So if you do not actually have the cash right now to buy the real estate, getting into a REIT is a good option. You get the benefits of owning a real estate without actually owning the real estate. The second is into a mutual fund. And what I like about mutual fund is that there's a mix of stocks and bonds.
Right.
And so what you find is that without you having to go out of the market and spending maybe $10,000 to buy your own bond, you can do it with a few $100s.
Uh-huh.
And then finally, you want to put some of your monies into an ETF. The ETF that I recommend is usually one that keeps pace with the stock market itself, right?
Right.
So the ETF is a combination of actually fund stocks that are already traded. Go with stocks that you're comfortable with. If you are good with tech stocks, then go with tech stocks, with a tech ETF. If you are prefer a more traditional manufacturing type play, then go with that. Understand what you're getting into before you get into it, right? And so you find out with that kind of mix, you are now able to move forward with your own personal financial plan. Of course, as usual, I tell you, go to your financial advisor, explain to the person what your risk tolerances are, and explain to them what you know about each of them, and then work forward. So, in summary, understand the different type of funds and
Mm-hmm.
how they can help you will make you a more rounded financial person, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, give you a more well-rounded financial plan. Understand your own risk tolerance and your own investment goals and timelines and work towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's it. Thank you for having me today.
Of course, always happy to have you. I ask a question though, as it relates to funds, and you mentioned a variety hedge funds. Do you is well are all funds available worldwide, no matter which part of the globe you are, mutual funds, hedge funds? What is it? Is it sensitive to location?
And the answer is yes. It
Right.
is sensitive to location. The biggest stock exchanges in the world right now are the New York Stock Exchange, the UK Stock Exchange, European Stock Exchange, Hong Kong, and Japan. So you find that if you are an international person, I would suggest that you go to the stock exchange closest to you that you can have some level of comfort. The largest in the world right now is, of course, the New York Stock Exchange, right? The Nikkei is quite up there. That is Japan
Mm-hmm.
and UK. Don't get me wrong. So they're all there, but in terms of the volume of stocks that are traded, the New York Stock Exchange is one of the most active,
Okay.
Well,
right?
but based on the question I was asked a while ago, is it sensitive? Is the monetary financial access is limited to location or sensitive to location? I am now saying, based on that fact, and you actually said that yes, it is true that
Yes.
location makes the difference. Then I guess it would put some persons at a disadvantage in different location versus the other persons in in the other locations. Wouldn't that be true?
Well, it does allow for that. That is true. However, the good news is that in the globalized world that we live in, you can decide which stock market you want to trade on. So
Well,
if you are in the Caribbean, you can trade on your local stock market in Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
However, you are allowed to trade on the international stock markets.
Right.
So
well,
whether you're in a country that does not have its own stock exchange, you can still participate.
Well, all right. So so I would say then, based on what you just said, it is very clear that we have created what we call a global village, and we
That's
are
correct.
all experiencing this global village, but we are still having the concept of the separation and segregation being applied even in the village as we still speak. I would think of a worldwide, what you call a one world order that have the same money for everybody would make a level playing field. Since we are now saying we need a global village and we are now in the global village, why not introduce the one world order that brings one money, one job description, everybody have the same pay, same monetary currency, being paid at the same rate, and so we all have the same access to all these resources that everybody has have access to. What about that?
It sounds quite good. And the truth is, the US dollar is still considered the currency of the world, the traded currency of the world.
Right.
So you can always say that with the US dollar, if you can have access to US dollar, then you are good to go. The the I will say though, there's something called arbitrage, and that is how you make your money. So an item that is produced in, say, the United States, and you desire that item in Cayman Islands,
Right.
then you have to be prepared to pay not just the cost of the product, the shipping, the handling, the custom duties, but you have to also pay the person who went through the trouble of getting it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And he recognizes that and recognizes that there may be a profit there.
Right.
And so he goes ahead and makes the the trade for you.
Uh-huh.
And in that case, using a item as a particular product, it is the same thing with financial products. You will find that an item that is being sold on the US stock exchange or a US stock exchange
Right.
being sold on the same stock exchange on the same item being sold on the stock exchange in Europe, for example, or on the UK stock exchange. There may be a dollar difference or 5% difference or 2% difference. But because of volumes, they are able to trade across continents overnight or within a split second.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates um, wealth generation
For those who are actually being able to make the
for
trade.
those who are able to make that trade. Yes.
Mm.
So there is going to be a diversity of um, not a divergence, sorry, not a diversity, a divergence of persons because on their status in terms of what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Partially, one, because of knowledge, two, because of access. What I must say, however, is that you mentioned the word being a global village. More and more of us have the capacity and the ability to get online and to do what needs to be done. We can learn, we can um, educate ourselves, and we can do the trades if we so desire. It's there for all of us. It's not limited to anyone. And as we get more into that global village, as you mentioned, more and more of us can do it.
I want to
More
say thank
are
you this morning for that whole heap of advice. Whole heap of, um, just thinking about the whole concept of earning money arbitrarily. It's not a bad idea though.
Arbitrage. It's a good idea.
Arbitrarily, yeah. You know, it's not a bad idea at all. It sounds really intriguing, and there's no person that I know who don't want to achieve that level of earning ability and potential. Of course, I guess the next time we talk, we'll be talking a little bit more about how we can actually learn how to actually get money coming to us arbitrarily. I don't
Everything
know.
has to be
I'm just crazy about
everything
it.
has to be deliberate, just like investments. And before Richard goes, I would like him to just remind us of how we can connect with him and how we can access more financial advice. I also want to allow him the opportunity to give a birthday shout out if he would so desire.
Okay, so my email address is broker@richardthelwell.com, and you can get me there. There are a number of websites that are out there that are geared towards financial plans. Mine, of course, richardthelwell.com, Investopedia, and a number of others. I would not recommend Wikipedia just like that, but unless you verify their sources. Okay? So it is out there. The news, the information is there. And of course, you can tune in every Tuesday to this segment to get additional information. And then my niece is celebrating her birthday today. And so I said birthday shout out to Chantel Dallas. Right? Happy birthday. Wishing you lots of love, giving you lots of love, wishing you long life and happiness.
Well, all right, there you have it. Chantel Dallas being celebrated this morning, and of course, we want to add our quote of happy birthday also to the Dallas Chantel, and of course, wishing her to have many, many, many more happy returns. Christmas baby, right? I see that. It's a person
Close enough.
close enough. All right.
Okay, so that's it. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you, Richard, for joining us on this episode of the Breakfast Hour as we have been educated about funds, hedge funds, mutual funds, and options for investment. Thank you so much for sharing that information with us this morning. And we're looking forward to hearing more from you come on the next episode of the Breakfast Hour.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you.
A global village that we have right here, and of course, everyone participates in it. We want to make this playing field a little leveler, so we are now wanting that we now quickly move forward with the global unification of the one world order that everybody can be under the same heading, so we are not financially disadvantaged or disqualified in any way from all of the activities that goes on in the world around us. How about that, Lady Elise?
That sounds fabulous and exciting and interesting. Don't let your imagination run away with you, now, Mikey G.
Why
Don't let
not?
it.
Why not?
Don't let it run with you. Don't let it run with you.
Advice. Of course, this morning when I listen to the conversation, it tells you that there is a disparity in persons' earning abilities all over the place,
Yes, yes, yes.
and these things are set up for for bureaucracy. Oh God, bureaucracy. There's a word I'm looking for, and I'm unable to pronounce it. Please forgive me this morning. And of course, my mind is running away. But bureaucracy is the word that I'm looking for. But there's another word for it that is an actual subsidiary of that word. And of course, it is used all the time to
Yes.
prevent others from getting into the things that they're supposed to be a part of and causes us to be marginalized. Now, when we think about these things, the way we are operating, then you want to actually accept the idea of a global village and, of course, a one world order that would have bring a unification, of course, one global village together and bring one, of course, this mutual culture that everybody don't need to be Jamaicans, you don't need to be Americans, you don't need to be Cubans, you don't need to be Russians, you just need to be
People, you just
you
need to
just need
be.
to be
But guess what? But guess what, Mikey G? It's time for the news. Do you know this?
Yes, of course, news time comes up next, right here on Flashpoint. And of course, the news is brought to you by Asai Ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. And of course, we want to thank the financial advisor for coming on this morning and, of course, giving us such potent advice each morning right here on the Breakfast Hour.
Right here in the breakfast hour. Time for the news.
Good morning. These are the news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. I'm Corley Karen. A young cyclist who tragically lost his life over the weekend has been described as a beautiful worker by his employers. Tara Bahadur, a 22-year-old dishwasher from Nepal, died in a collision involving his electric bicycle and a Honda HR-V SUV just after midnight on Saturday along the easterly Tibet highway. Bahadur, who worked at Agua Restaurant through H&A Janitorial, was known for his quiet demeanor and strong work ethic. His employers shared that Bahadur had been supporting his parents back home and had only been in Cayman for a few months. A 24-year-old woman has been arrested on suspicion of drink driving. Agua's executive chef, Federico Apino, expressed deep sorrow, describing Bahadur as a nice young man just at the beginning of his career. Efforts are underway to repatriate Bahadur's remains to his family in Nepal. Fishing license for non-Caymanians. A new proposal could soon see non-Caymanians needing a license to fish in local waters. Sustainability Minister Dwayne Seymour has highlighted concerns about depleting marine resources, proposing restrictions for reef fish, conch, lobster, and whelk. The plan includes permits for nearshore catch and release game fishing and offshore pelagic fishing, but these measures will only apply to non-Caymanians. The proposal, which requires legislative reform, aims to balance sustainability and the protection of local fishing traditions. In regional news, Jamaica's Governor General Sir Patrick Allen will undergo spinal surgery on Monday. The procedure, described as elective, aims to relieve his debilitating condition. During his recovery, Kingston Custis Stedman Fuller will assume responsibilities to ensure a seamless transition. The nation has extended prayers and well wishes for Sir Patrick's successful surgery and a speedy recovery. Caribbean Cement Company has reached a major milestone in its kiln expansion project with the successful installation of a 160-ton surge bin and solid fuel equipment. Managing Director George Martinez shared that this step marks significant progress in enhancing production efficiency. He expects the full expansion project to be completed by mid-2025, meeting the local demand for cement. Chris Daring has been appointed the new Chief Executive Officer of Cricket West Indies. Known for his visionary leadership, Daring brings extensive experience in finance, sports management, and media. CWI highlighted Daring's achievements, including co-founding Jamaica's first investment bank and revolutionizing Caribbean sports broadcasting with SportsMax. His appointment follows a rigorous selection process involving over 50 global candidates. The regional security system is warning citizens across the Caribbean about rising WhatsApp scams. Hackers are tricking users into sharing verification codes, gaining access to accounts, and contacting victims' friends for money. Officials urge the public to remain vigilant and avoid sharing sensitive codes or links. Miss France historic win. History was made as 34-year-old Angelique Angarni became the first Martinican and oldest contestant to to win the Miss France crown. The flight attendant, who previously competed for Miss Martinique, triumphed after recent rule changes eliminated age limits in pageants. And Garni Philippon expressed pride in bringing the first ever Miss France title home to Martinique, saying, quote, "This is incredible. I have no words," end quote. Those were your news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. Please continue to stay tuned for more updates throughout the day.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Assign ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman Island. That what a news, Lady Elise, I'm telling you. You see, when you think about news, there is no good news.
Oh boy. Yesterday we started
All of it, yeah.
with good news about a young man in Cayman yesterday, and today we started with sad news about another young man, only 22 years old, would have been earning to send back home to his country, and it's so unfortunate. He is a dishwasher at a very popular restaurant here, one located in Cayman Bay. And whenever you hear news like that, a young person, if I had said to him, don't bother go to wash any dishes tonight, just to save his life, and unfortunately another, the 24-year-old who is also arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. A sad moment here in the Cayman Islands. I've also noticed on social media that they are having a memorial for him, and of course the Indian community right here, very big part of the community, they're going to be coming together on 7 Mile Beach sometime this month to, of course, have a memorial for this young man who tragically lost his life. Of course, he was on his electric bicycle, and he was definitely a victim of fatality, another statistic of 2024 road fatalities here in the Cayman Islands. That's a sad moment. Sad one to hear, Mikey G.
Yeah, here's my take on it. Lady Elise, is when people come to the Cayman Islands, and of course, for a want of a better life,
Yes.
and of course, you would want to see yourself excel and actually return to your homeland,
Yeah.
because most persons who come actually came with the idea that they are going to come and, of course, make better for themselves and family when they get back home, or while they're there making family better. And that you set up what you call your old day pension.
Right.
Not necessarily by pensioning in the Cayman Islands, but by creating wealth from what you earn in the Cayman Islands back home.
Yes.
Right? That's a general consensus. But then here's the deal with you. When you come to the Cayman Islands and then when you leave in the bottom of the plane back to your destination that you come from. Now, that's the heartrending part of it that gets most persons, a little disheartening and, of course, a little unsettled when you think about the whole aspect of you leaving your country, leaving your family, your loved ones, your children, your wife, husband, whoever it is, and you get to this location and you work so hard. And of course, sometimes you find not good quality sometimes with your work environment, but you stick with it anyhow. You didn't find good living conditions, but you stick with it anyhow. And you went on and you did all that you can to ensure that you make do with what you have. And then the end of it is you're on the bottom of the plane going back home in a box, right? It is a terrible thing to experience. Families and of course, friends are, well wishers are actually crying, and they're, both in the Cayman Islands and, who have met you, and then who, your family back home, who would have thought to themselves, this would be an opportunity for better, only see worse comes from it. So I'm just saying, it's a very terrible thing. And then you can account that to somebody who just decided to have a great time, drink as much as they wanted to drink, and be as loose and as crazy as they want to do, and then hurt somebody else with that. It's an awful thing.
You know, it, and I don't want it to go so lightly, because it was just last month that we would have recorded another. I believe he was also from India, but I will confirm that, because of course at that time you were doing some recording in East End, and
Right.
on one of the evenings while we were journeying down, we of course encountered a motor vehicle accident, and sadly that person also succumbed to his injury, and he was walking to work. He was walking to work, and he was hit down, and fatally, he of course he too had to be, he was in Cayman Islands for a short while as well, and they said he was engaged to be married, and unfortunately another young man, you know lost his life on his way walking to work. And then this other gentleman, also from Nepal, and unfortunately on Saturday night he was struck down while on his bicycle. And our condolences to his family and
Yes.
the entire um, family from his homeland. Of course, they're going to be assembling, and they are now, making arrangements for his body to go home. A very sad moment, very sad news here in the Cayman Islands. We don't, we talk about road fatalities and being safe on the road, and it's 1 minute everything is going fine, and the next minute everything is upside down. Also in the news, we learned that the Governor General of Jamaica will be undergoing spinal surgery, and of course, our prayers also with him and his family,
Yes.
as he faces a medical situation there.
Life is a dynamic thing, and we talk about these things every day.
Yeah.
I would have met the Governor General before he was Governor General.
Oh, you
Back.
did.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I actually met him when he was not the Governor General.
Were
I'm not.
united, and I now bestow on you the night of Mikey
Why
G.
do you think that Mikey G speaks the way that I speak? Why do you think? Why do you think? You make it out
Please
to me that
be
I don't understand these things.
be silent. Be silent, Mikey G. Of course,
So I would have met the Governor General at a certain time before he was the Governor General, of course, Sir Patrick Allen.
Alan, yes,
Actually, I at the time was the president of the Conference of Seventh Day Adventists in the Central Jamaica area, segment, or what we would say chapter of the experience that I would have. And here is, he would have been the pastor
yes,
for the church that I would have attended
yes,
in the same region,
yes,
right? Now, he went from there to president of the union,
Yes.
and then from union to
Mm-hmm.
governor general of Jamaica. You know, and you look at someone's life and achievement in life,
Yes.
and I remember the conversation that went on around the idea of him choosing to be the Governor General of Jamaica. It was a big discussion at one point, whether or not a Christian Adventist, may mind you, or a Christian should be involved in politics, you know. But then quickly, I listened to the conversation. I wasn't a big scholar in the Bible, and I didn't know much about, even though I was going to church a lot, I didn't know much about the Bible so much to exegetize the whole aspect of how things should work. I don't know these things. But then I remember the story of Joseph at that time,
Yes.
and how important Joseph was strategically placed in
Yes.
Egypt for
Yes.
the betterment of his people.
Yes.
The question is, did our people benefited from Joseph being established as Pharaoh?
Right.
All right. Having said that, I want to say, we wish and hope that all things go well with our Governor General.
Yes. All
And
things will be well.
I find though that I would want to add this, that when we do get power sometimes, we sometimes forget a few things,
Well, that's true.
important things. And I'm not assigning that to the argument or the conversation. I'm just
Right.
saying that there are persons who are known that they would have done more in the direction of what you'd expect, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Just say.
But I'm just
And
I want,
also,
sorry, go ahead.
well, you want to continue on that line since I was just
No,
going to
I'm not
mention.
going to continue that line. I'm done with the line.
Okay, so I just want to mention at least the note ended on the news ended on a congratulatory note that Miss France, of course, the first time 32-year-old, and that is because the age limit, I don't know if it has been removed or adjusted. Yes. So they are celebrating, of course, that this young lady, 32-year-old lady, would have been successful in claiming the crown. And so we say congratulations to you on making the bold step, and you have become victorious. I want to thank all the listeners for joining us this morning
Well,
on the breakfast hour.
yes,
Yes.
there is something that I wanted to add before you close the breakfast hour, ladies.
Yes.
So
Please
quickly
add.
something before I add my little bit there with
Please.
Miss 31-year-old
32. Thank you very much.
young pageantary. I'm not claiming that you're an old person. I'm not saying that. But
Why you started? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you that youthfulness ends at 30, 29. 30 begins the year when you're becoming old. So if you're a 30-year-old person, I'm not saying that you're old in terms of you're old, but understand that what we consider youth has ended at that point. When you get 30, the word youth is not applicable anymore to a 30-year-old. So we want to then consider the word youth to be um, before 30.
So, can you congratulate her for winning?
I would congratulate the idea. I'm not saying that I'm not congratulating her.
Yes. Oh, you're correcting me for calling her youth?
No, I just want to say that the concept of youth. I remember when we have the persons who went to South Africa in the back in the day, and they had to call them they had to be established as honorary white people, and then they had to be black, then be honorary white to play in those matches. I remember that story, right? So we're assigning honorary youths to persons after 30,
Uh huh.
and you're assigning them the pageantry. All right. I'm not saying that you cannot be, but here's a guy who entered, I think last year, and won the Miss World, I think, as the best woman in the room. Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't know, I'm just saying these things because
Yes, you are seeing these things. All right, while
let's
you're
go, let's go to fishing. Let's leave that and go to fishing. Here, I want to talk about the fishing, Lady Elise, please.
so
I want
like, all right, talk about the fishing.
please, let us talk a little bit. We want to close the breakfast hour in style. Of course, we're almost there. It's time for us to go. And of course,
All right, please speak about the fishing.
so nobody want to talk about the fish.
Can you talk about fishing? Not the fish, fishing.
Fish come from fishing. Yeah,
All right,
fishing, fish.
I'm waiting. I am waiting.
Fish. All right, so fishing, Lady Elise, is a popular thing for many persons in living in Cayman Islands. So let me ask you a question then. Here's a new law that's coming up for you to fish. If you go out and so now it's illegal, so you could be arrested then and placed in jail for catching a fish.
You need license and stuff. You know, what they're trying to do is also preserve marine life. That was mentioned in the news item, Mikey G.
I know, I know. I would imagine that. I would imagine that. You know, with a very large sea around you, you know, you might want to preserve the life in it. Yeah. Anyways, here is the thing. So what I'm gonna go to is that if an expatriate, if somebody who's living there who's not a Caymanian bird or have the rights to be Caymanian, you are caught catching a fish. You're gonna spend some time in Northward, and of course you're gonna be enjoying the benefits of His Majesty's facilities for a little while for catching a fish. All right. So here's where I'm gonna go. So if you're going to catch a fish, is there a way that you can be catching the fish without being arrested after catching the fish?
I am not. I'm trying to find out how Marlon used to say that. Marlon used to say, I will have to do some more research on that. I will have to do. I will.
I'm not a person who is inclined to catching any fish at all. So I am not. In fact, you know what? I've never caught one fish in the Cayman Islands at all.
Is it because is
I'm
it because
not.
of your ability to fish, or is it that you did not put the right bait? Is it that?
I'm not trying to catch any fish.
But you know what? It's time for us to get out of studio on that note. And of course, I refuse to go out of studio play without playing the birthday song for Chantel. Chantel is celebrating her birthday today. It would be remiss of me. Good morning, Pastor Mark. I'm calling everything. It would be remiss of me to not.
Say happy birthday to Chantel.
Yes, from a happy birthday from Elise and the entire.
Let me sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Can I sing that?
You're asking if can you sing and you're singing?
I singing, yes. I'm singing. Chantel, happy birthday to you. Of course, we want to extend my birthday to you.
All right, let's hear it.
Compleanno feliz, compleanno
All
feliz,
right.
compleanno, compleanno.
Feliz. Yeah.
Of course, birthday to Chantel this morning. Of course, I wish and hope that you really enjoy this day. It's most special.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Elise, I was saying, of course, happy birthday to Chantel. My mind is running wild with me, you know. The whole thing.
Is that anything new? Is that
That's quite crazy with this.
surprise us?
The whole fishing thing, right? Here's a question, man. What if I'm in the boat out there fishing with a cayman and is right there with me, and they're in the boat with me? Is it still the same thing?
Mikey G, I will have to do some more research on the matter. Thank you very much.
People, listen. If you're anywhere in my people, I'm gonna talk to you. My people, let me talk to you.
Don't fish.
Leave the fish alone. We don't believe in. Just left the fish them alone. Please, leave the fish them where them is. Let them be where they are. Just don't talk the fish them. All right, please. That's what I said.
That's how we are ending the breakfast hour this morning.
Please leave the fish alone.
the fish alone.
The fish don't value. It don't value. Come on, for one fish, you know, here's the iguanas, right? You remember the iguana idea? Iguanas were there, and so here's a Filipino. It comes up. Filipino says, see the Spanish. You know, some of the Spanish people like iguana, right? Some of, not all of them. Not all.
Oh, you mean like them, like pets?
No, it's a delicacy.
It's
And in fact, in some countries,
It's called tree chicken.
no, but before you think about it like that, in Guyana and these places, it's a delicacy. In Honduras, it's high-priced meat. You can't get that at any cheap. I mean, I'm just telling somebody about the cost of living, the money that you're wasting if you throw away these iguanas when you kill them. All right. If you can ship them off to when you kill them, you can ship them off to the local nearby countries like Honduras. They will be buying those meat like crazy. I'm thinking that there's a trade going on with that. But anyways, I didn't hear the trading, but I didn't ask anybody. But you know, my mind keep running away with me. I don't want you to quote me on that, people. Please don't quote me on, and I'm saying that anybody's doing this. Please, but I'm just thinking that there must be some trading going on. I don't know. But here's the real thing. The Filipino was curious about why he said how it tastes. He asked the Spanish guy. He says, it tastes like chicken. And the Filipino says, then why not buy chicken? You know? And so I want to say good morning to those who have just joined us. If you are not, and never joined us before, catch you tomorrow morning, same time, same place, right here in the breakfast hour. So much happening, and of course, so much to do. Have yourself a God bless day. Remember, stay locked right here on www.flashpointmedia.ky. The radio continues all day. When we end our stream, the radio continues all day. Of course, remember 2 to 6 Super Mix comes up later on today. And of course, that's going to be an experience for you. Don't miss that one. And of course, have yourself a flashpoint day.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries. We'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air back up to the moon. I'll meet you outside.